My name is Dr. Steve Dannelly. I am chair of the computer science department here at Winthrop University, and I'm joined by Professor Dr. Michael Whitney, who is head of the digital information design program.
Hello.
And so what we're going to do is, having talked to parents and prospective students and incoming students, et cetera, in the past, we've got kind of an idea of the sorts of things that people want to know. And so we're going to go through that really quickly, just some stuff that we know people are going to ask about. But we would really like to hear questions from everybody. So be thinking of something that you can ask here at the end. The first little thing that we wanted to talk about was, if I can get this thing to move forward, was the parents always want to know about jobs. Are there jobs? Yes. Students graduating from our various degree programs, and we'll talk about what those options are. Dr. Whitney will do that in just a second. But people from all our different computing majors have done really well in the last several years. Of course, starting middle of spring semester, the world sort of fell apart. But even then, we still had most of our students had jobs on the day that they graduated, and everybody had a job within a month. And so given that we were almost in a depression, for everybody to have a job after a month, in normal times, everybody has a job well before graduation, and most people have choices of jobs. But where do they go work? All right, that's complicated. What makes it complicated is that where do people work in general? The general population does not work for just a few giant companies. Most people that have jobs, the majority of them work for small and medium-sized companies, and that is true of our graduates also. And so because we're so close to Charlotte, those companies come here and recruit a lot. And so Charlotte is a big financial sector. And so Bank of America, Wells Fargo, those kinds of companies hire a lot of our students. We've got a lot of alumni at those organizations that come and recruit and help our students get entry-level positions there, internships as well. Blue Cross Blue Shield has a huge IT operation down in Columbia, so they like to come here. Other financial institutions like TIA CREF in Charlotte as well. But there are other companies that you've probably never heard of, like Red Ventures is a giant corporation with thousands of employees about 30 miles directly east of Winthrop's campus. My guess is nobody's ever heard of Red Ventures except for me and Professor Whitney. They are a huge advertising company. So you know all the products that they advertise. They control the advertising for 2 or 3 different kinds of credit cards and direct TV and lots of those kinds of things. So our graduates go build software for them, primarily websites, but also software to track calls that are coming in, and anyway, the software for lots of things. It's a huge, huge company. They employ our graduates. They also have internships where they employ our students as well. But most of our students go to work for little companies that have 20 employees. That's because, well, most people work for small companies. And so there are lots of little software companies around North Carolina, South Carolina, all scattered everywhere here and there that do all sorts of different kinds of things. That's where they go work. Lots of different. So if you want to go work for a giant corporation, that's an opportunity. You want to go work for a company that has 5 employees and is a startup, and you'll be one of the first few employees to help get the company going. We have students that do that every single year as well. Internships are generally pretty easy to find. And again, the weird exception was this last summer because the world sort of fell apart. We did have a couple of people that had internships, like 2 out of dozens that had internships pulled back, but most people did their internships remotely over the summer. Computing is pretty pandemic proof, we have found. People still need software developers, even more so, and you can do your work from home as well as you can do your work from an office. You just end up doing lots of Zoom calls is all. The pay is pretty wide because it depends a lot on what your major is, what your GPA was, and honestly, the primary factor is what's on your resume. So if all you have is your degree, that gets you lots of job offers. But if you have a degree plus an internship and some club opportunities and some other things that we'll talk about in just a few minutes, that moves you up the stack in the hiring protocol. All right, so that's a general look at where students go to work, how much they get paid. Dr. Whitney is going to talk about the different degrees that we offer.
Yeah, so everyone is moving some stuff around. I noticed in the group earlier, we got a list of students coming, that it looked like we had some computer science people, people who are interested in DIFT, and also some people that were interested in CIFS, which is Computer Information Systems. So we've got a broad group today, and when we get done, we'll be happy to answer a whole bunch of questions specifically to you. But a lot of times people just are wondering, especially straight out of high school or still in high school, which one is for me and which one does what? So if we start out with computer science, this is a really mathy-like major that is all about like developing algorithms, spending time just coding and coding and coding, and it doesn't really deal too much with like front end, what people see kind of stuff. It's like you're working in the background, making some amazing programs run. You're taking like huge sets of data and finding trends in the data. You're talking about artificial intelligence type stuff. So it's really heavy with the coding and the math. And then when you get done, you'll probably be working like in software development. And here it's what you want. You want to go into like a large company, you know, something like Google. That would be a nice large company, or something smaller like a local company right down here in Rock Hill would work out as well. A lot of times when you finish up, that's what you want to do. What direction is for you. Now the digital information design, I'm the program director from this, and what it is actually a combination of interdisciplinary efforts to create one degree. Years ago, what we did is we set up or we surveyed the businesses around the area, and we said, what are you looking for when you need to develop this digital presence for your company? And they came back and they said, well, we'll need like marketers. We're going to need some designers. So somebody who makes something looks really good and interacts really well. We need some mass media people who are going to make like the videos and who are going to be the script doctors who just really write really well. And then we're going to need the developers, the kind of computer science people that are working on the back end for our various services that are offered for our digital presence. And so we came together and we made this degree all around those 4 areas, and you can specialize in those 4 areas. And how the program works is you come in and you take core courses that all 4 areas use, and you specialize in your particular areas. Coming out, depending on what you want to do and where you want to go, we've had the whole range of salaries, you know, from 40,000 to, I think we had one 86,000 last year. Working at a bank up in Charlotte. So wide range of things going on with digital information design. And then thirdly is our CFS system. What this is really doing is taking business and combining computing. So it's more as looking at your data, what kind of trends and things are happening in the data, and how that can help out the particular company. You know, like how sales are going in this particular area, or sales are going across the range of the company. Like we'll talk about Walmart. What are sales like? Is there particular areas that are doing better or worse? You analyze that data, knowing what you've learned, like how to access databases with the data, how to work through that data to get meaning out of that data, and then to go ahead and apply it and come up with a plan of what you're going to do. So the computer information system is more all about business and analyzing data and using the computer science tools to analyze the data. And similar, you're going to be working for like banks. Banks is a real big one in Charlotte area just because it's a big banking community. Insurance, manufacturing. So a lot of different places you can go. And again, nice salaries coming out with that degree as well. So they're all similar in that they're kind of computer science based, and really we're learning all about coding and stuff. It's just the specifics of how we apply that and what we're trying to achieve with our, for the most part, coding abilities. So that's a comparison of the degrees. So Steve, back to you.
So the coursework, students always want to know what sort of courses they're going to be taking. I'm going to make an important little addendum to that, is that don't worry so much about coursework. You need to be doing more than just taking courses. But of course, coursework is one of the primary things that you'll be doing while you're here. So people ask, so here's the answer to what sort of courses you're taking. In computer science, as Dr. Whitney said, it's a lot of math and science, very sciencey. It's computer science. It's not programming. It's the science of software development. So that includes your first couple of courses are learning to program. Like in biology, your first class is you learn how to use a microscope and you learn how to dissect frogs. Now, nobody's ever going to get a job where their job is to dissect frogs. Same thing, you're learning some basic programming. We teach you basic programming so that in your sophomore year, you can learn how to do algorithm analysis. And in your junior year, you can start taking classes like security and database and networking, machine learning, those sorts of courses. And in your senior year, you take some theory courses as well as a year-long project that you do with other students for a real organization, not Winthrop, some other organization. Digital information design starts with the same first programming course. And then you start taking classes from people around campus. So you go upstairs from where Dr. Whitney and I are with the computer science people. You'll go upstairs and take a class with a marketing professor. And then you'll go to the opposite side of campus over where the art hippies are and take classes with them, because a website needs to be aesthetically pleasing, right? And there is a science to how to convey a message with pictures and how to use a website to convey the image that you're trying to portray, right? So the art hippies over on the other side of campus are really good at that. And then you take some classes, at least one class with the folks that also teach journalism, because you're creating a website that's going to convey information to a lot of different kinds of people. Well, there's a science to that. So you take these different courses from different areas, and then you specialize for digital information design. You specialize in one of those 4 areas, either it be web application development, the digital commerce, the marketing side, or the design side, the aesthetic side, or the content creation side. And then computer information systems, that degree is a business degree. So your diploma that sits up on the wall, your diploma will read Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in computer information systems. Really long title. But it includes, of course, all the regular business classes like accounting and finance and marketing and those sorts of things, as well as 8 different computer science classes. So same thing, first year learning to program, next year you're getting into database, senior year you're taking the exact same senior project course that the computer science majors are taking. I should mention, by the way, that the Digital Information Design program, their capstone course, is not done on campus. The city of Rock Hill gives us office space down in their technology incubator center, where they bring companies that are startup companies together. So you're working around investors, people that are looking for ideas to invest in. You're working with people that are starting new companies. A lot of jobs come out of that course just by the nature of the people that you're with pretty frequently. Okay, so that gives you an idea about coursework. And our last little topic before we open up to questions is about other sorts of opportunities. Like I said, you need to be doing something other than just going to class. You need to build your resume. So Dr. Whitney can give us some ideas about some things we can do to build our resume.
And yes, thanks for passing it back, Steve. It's really important while you're here to really branch out and develop yourself. And that can be done in a lot of different ways. But while you're developing, you should also include things that are going to help you out with your career. As Dr. Dannelly was saying earlier, if you just come out with a resume that just says, I'm a graduate, and there's nothing else on there, your resume doesn't necessarily go to the top of the pile. But more importantly, to make it go to the top of the pile is what clubs were you in? Were you presidents of some clubs? Were you secretary of the clubs? Internships, that's a really big one. Most of the people that I've worked with that get internships usually are offered a job to that internship or with the internship company. I've known people to do their internships their junior summer, and at the junior summer, they're offered a job when they've complete their senior year. So they've already got a job locked in place going into their senior year. And so we're here to help you. We've got a lot of contacts with internships, and it's never too early. We're actually, like Google, I've worked with them before, and they want students to internship straight out of their freshman year. So they've got interns for a freshman year even, if that's possible in your schedule. If you decide that maybe graduate is for you, there's a lot of research opportunities. There's like REUs, which is basically as a student, you get to go to another university somewhere around the country and get paid to help with some research. So we've had a lot of students do that, to come back and just do these amazing presentations, like on blockchain was a great presentation that I enjoyed on their work in blockchain over the summer. So lots of opportunities with REUs or individual studies. You can work with any one of our faculty. We're all doing research, and you can say, hey, I'm interested in that, or I'm interested in this, and we'll work with you to help you develop that topic or bring you in on our topic as well. There's also some really cool competitions. Winthrop does really well in our programming competition. We've placed well in those, and we actually have a really diverse team that goes out. It's amazing, like sometimes our team will show up and be the only team that is like balanced with men and women. So, and like there's just a sea of guys and all the other teams, and it's like, well, wait a second, what's going on here? Our teams are really cool in that they're balanced and do really well. We've got these hackathons. What hackathons are is you'll have a challenge to work on, and sometimes it's over a weekend. And we've actually had like a month-long hackathon where you'll be provided with a challenge. Multiple teams come in, and they just see if they can overcome that challenge or who can do it the best. And usually it's just a lot of fun, free food, staying up all night, or bringing in the bean bags and stuff to do the hackathon. So there's a ton of things to do while you're here. And if while you're here, we're always encouraging. We're like, hey, there's a hackathon. Why don't you come and join us and work on this? So we get to know our students and really try to help them find their place along the way. And it shouldn't be too hard, but every once in a while, some student is just like, nope, I'm going to work 60 hours a week. I'm not too interested in doing that. So of course, we respect that. But most of the time, we can find something that you like or help you with that. So just make sure that you're being involved with something along the way, and we'll help you out with that. So Steve, back to you.
Just real quick, if you have a pencil, a pen, Winthrop's email system is the last name, then the first letter of, so I'm Steve Dannelly, so my email is Dannelly S. That's Michael Whitney, so he is Whitney M. The other person that was going to be here, she couldn't be here, is Gay Randolph. She is the Director of Student Services for our college, which means if you have questions about AP credit, transferring into the program, dual credit, those sorts of things, she is the person that handles all the paperwork for those sorts of things. And I always defer to Miss Randolph, to Gay, about those questions. Maybe I can, if you have any questions about those things, maybe I can field them for you. That sort of gives you the idea. I'm going to stop the sharing thing and go back to the regular big window here. That gives you an idea a little bit, I hope, about the different programs that we offer. Not on those lists are two other programs. We had a brand new program that was just approved by the state of South Carolina Commission on Higher Education. So the state has to approve everything we do. So the state just approved, not even 2 months ago, a program that is a software development degree for people that already have an associate's degree in programming from one of the South Carolina tech schools. So if you have your 2-year degree, you can come to Winthrop and finish your bachelor's degree in 2 years in software development programming. And then there's another degree which we will begin seeking approval maybe they already have the paperwork. The state has the paperwork. It's sometime very soon they get it. My part is done. So we're on the other side of campus waiting for approval, or for a cybersecurity degree. So if you are in high school now, when you get here a year from now, there will be another option, which is cybersecurity. That degree will eventually be certified by the National Security Agency, the part of the federal government, the people that are listening in on this right now, that part of the federal government that monitor anyway. They have a certification program for cybersecurity degrees, and we will be seeking that at the appropriate time. That our degree is modeled based on their criteria. So anyway, that gives you an idea of some different opportunities here, different courses, degree programs. Hopefully you got the idea that we really, really, really want you to be doing internships and other sorts of things outside of class, because that's what gets you a really good resume, and that's what gets you a really good job when you graduate. Our students do very well when they graduate. Good job placement, good salaries, because so we push people to do internships. It's not like we're going to tell you, yeah, you should just go do an internship. Good luck with that. We have people in this building, that's their job. Celeste Tiller, that's the primary part of her job is to help you with the internship. Find companies, get all the paperwork done, whatever it is that needs to be done to grease the wheels. That's her job. I don't know how many job interviews you've been to, but there is a professor, Dr. Barbara Burgess Wilkerson, really long name. She is a communications professor. She somehow or another twists arms and gets alumni to come back every semester and interview students for pretend jobs. And so you should, when you're here, you should sign up every semester for the mock interviews. Somebody whose job it is to interview people for a living, these HR people, will come and they will interview you just like they interview people for their companies. The difference is when they're doing this for real at their company, they shake hands with you and say, okay, thank you very much, we'll be in contact, and then they just wave at you. What they do in our conference rooms is they say, okay, thank you very much, we'll be in contact. And then they have you sit down and they tell you what you did right and what you did wrong and how to fix it. And then you do it again. So it's not like we just say, yeah, you should go do this. Is that we have people whose job it is to help you with all these different little parts, to help you with your resume, to help you with the interviewing, help you find opportunities. So you're taking a lot of courses, but you really need to engage in all these other activities as well. All right, I've been rambling too much. What kind of questions do people have? If you want to unmute and give us an idea of something that we've not covered, or something you'd like to know more about, or just a comment, whatever you want to do.